Get him on the place, man. Hey, stop!
For the next 10 years, or maybe for the next 15 years, I will be the champion.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I saw that press conference you had a couple of months ago, mate. And the thing that bugged me the most, you disrespect all the superstars that made K1 to what it is today, mate. They're still sitting here, and you're trying to tell me you're going to be the champ for the next 20 years, mate?
What are you?
Thank you. Get him on the place, man. Hey, stop! Hey, get your... Come on, man.
What happens when the cockiest young fighter meets an Australian legend in kickboxing?
Badr Hari's a dangerous guy. He's kill or be killed.
This story isn't just about a young cocky fighter being humbled. It's one of the greatest rivalries in combat sports of all time.
Drop dead, motherfucker.
Badr Hari was a young prodigy here, and he would later become the biggest superstar kickboxing had ever seen. Few people know about this epic rivalry today, but here are some epic moments coming up. You see, by 2006, anyone who saw Badr Hari knew he could be the next big superstar in combat sports. At 17 years old, he ran through the European kickboxing circuit with a record of 35 wins and 1 loss. By 18 years old, he was already fighting the best in the world and defeating many A-class fighters. Getting into combat sports because he was bullied, Hari wanted to prove to the world who he was and what he was capable of.
I had a lot of problems and I always came at home crying, or somebody had hit me again or was picking on me. So my father, he was like, okay, I'm done with this. He was like, you're gonna learn to stand up for yourself. And that's how I came in contact with martial arts, with kickboxing.
Next star right here. I know you already, man. You can talk and walk for walk. I can only walk.
Yes, this young cocky fighter would later become Mike Tyson's favourite kickboxer.
Badr Hari.
Yeah, he was killing everybody.
Yes,
just like an animal,
guy.
right? He was an animal. It hurt you at all time. Everything's to hurt you.
Yeah.
Nothing's soft. Everything's hot.
It's
He's
just
so
fighting.
exciting.
In 2006, Badr Hari was only 22. You can tell he already thought the world of himself. His temper was so bad that the Japanese called him the Devil's Prince. He walked around with main character energy, and everyone else was just an NPC. This is what he predicted about his future.
For the next 10 years, or maybe for the next 15 years, I will be the champion.
Indeed, he would become one of the greatest legends in kickboxing history. With the highest knockout ratio in the history of the sport, he beat everyone there is to beat. However, his curse was that he would never win a world title at the biggest stage due to his rage.
Badr Hari, what's going on? What's going on? Having been restrained ringside here. Badr Hari losing the plot right.
Nonetheless, he became a legend that destroyed monsters in his sport. But at this moment in time, little did he know he was about to receive the biggest humble pie of his life.
Kill Pentagram.
So who is this Australian kickboxing legend? Peter Graham defeated several kickboxing legends such as Paul Slowinski, Alexei Ignashov, and Sam Greco. Badr Hari, however, after beating one A-class opponent named Stefan Leko, made the claim that he is going to beat every superstar in kickboxing. A bold claim for an unproven young 22-year-old.
And the thing that bugs me the most is you disrespect all the superstars that made K1 to what it is today, mate. They're still sitting here, and you're trying to tell me you're going to be the champ for the next 20 years, mate? So you had 1 win, and he's already the superstar of the world. You're freaking kidding me. Come Sunday, mate, make sure you bring it.
If you know about the history of Badr Hari, however, you'll know that he has never one to back down from an exchange.
You have a big mouth. Let me tell you something. I see your tape, I see you fighting. You look like an amateur. You're good for an amateur. How old are you?
Is he going to bring up the same thing he brought up before?
I'm just asking.
Oh, everyone else is older than me.
I'm just asking. Drop dead, motherfucker.
He ran out of cool things to say because they busted him.
It's on for tomorrow night.
After the press conference, they bumped into each other. And for some reason, Badr wanted to hug and kiss Graham. But when he got rejected, he swung for the fences. We learned years later that Badr actually thought Graham wanted a kiss too.
And I thought he wanted to kiss me on the cheek or something. Yeah. And I was like, hey, you know, what you doing, you know?
It turned into an MMA fight right away, with Graham first defending punches very nicely to then shooting for a takedown. The lead hand perfectly measured the distance for an incoming haymaker, allowing him to slip the first punch and then duck the left hook, setting up a perfect takedown. What would happen next is one of the most legendary moments in kickboxing history.
Mess with the bull, you get the horns.
When the fight started, the adult fighter pressed the young fighter right away. It's clear that Graham wanted to manhandle Hari, but young Badr was game, and no matter what Graham did, he continued fighting back. You see, don't let the long basketball shorts fool you. At 22 years old, he was already one of the best fighters in the world. Although Badr was skinny and lacked strength and sometimes technique, a clean blow by him can still produce a knockout, and he simply won't give up until you knock him out. In the middle of the round, Graham realised he couldn't just manhandle the young fighter, and started being more technical with his shot selection, particularly using low kicks to score. Badr looked like he was building momentum, but when he stepped forward with a jab, Graham slipped the punch, framed with his left hand, and then threw a huge right hook to rock the young fighter. Smelling a finish, Graham released a barrage and landed 9 unanswered shots. When he continued hunting, however, Badr showed heart and fought back well. At the end of the round, he almost landed a spinning hook kick and it earned the respect of the veteran kickboxer. In the beginning of the second round, a low kick exchange sent the young fighter flying. Graham then landed another jab-jab uppercut combination, which off-balanced his opponent again. No matter what he landed though, it seemed like Badr absorbed the shots and got better over time. Despite not having the momentum, the young fighter never stopped swinging for the fences. He even pressed the veteran back with big combinations in the middle of the round, and went for a jumping spin kick again. For some reason, Graham threw a huge uppercut to Hari's armpit. That did nothing, and then he touched himself in the face with that glove right after. Anyways, Graham landed a huge combination on Hari again, and then Hari threw a huge switch knee to his nuts. Towards the end of the round, Graham looked like he was visibly fatiguing and Hari landed a huge cross to counter Graham's low kick. Although the older lion was stumbled, he kept moving forward, and almost knocked out Hari with what's called a rolling thunder kick. In the third round, Hari tried his signature spin kick again. A beautiful attempt to land the strike after a clinch break. Graham then landed a series of overhands, but again Badr started rallying back late in the round. Just when Hari looked like he had a chance to steal the round, the veteran threw an overhand that initially missed, and timed a perfect rolling thunder against Hari's all-out overhand. Right away, Graham knew the fight ended, and sent a kiss to the crowd as Hari was still on the ground. This technique had instant legendary status in combat sports, and it still does to this day for hardcore fans. It wasn't just a perfect execution, but especially because it humbled the young cocky fighter that was Badr Hari. The crowd gave a standing ovation to a once-in-a-lifetime knockout they just saw. Badr was eventually able to get up, and when he did, his face showed despair. Here's what he said years later about this knockout.
Rolling thunder kick.
Yeah, broke my jaw.
In 2 places?
Yeah.
Interestingly, as he got carried out of the arena, the Japanese fans gave him a standing ovation, showcasing how wonderful the Japanese fans were during the golden era of kickboxing. After being humiliated, most people would just give up, but not Badr Hari. Even after a controversial loss to Ruslan Karayev, where he was kicked on the ground and counted out, this caused him to go on the biggest behind-the-scenes rampage combat sports had ever seen. But he harnessed this rage to train, and within a year, Badr went on a 4-fight win streak, knocking out several A-class fighters. Hari defeated Ruslan in an epic manner. Then he even defeated Graham's trainer, Nicholas Pettis. On top of all of this, Hari even won the K1 heavyweight title before he would rematch Peter Graham. All of this happened only a year after his humiliating defeat to Graham and then Ruslan. This is what Graham said before their second fight.
I like to fight. If he likes to fight, then that's great. But if you want to fight, no problem. Do it properly, man. Get in the ring.
I don't have any bad history with him. He just broke my jaw and knocked me out, but that's it. Now I'm coming back to settle the score.
I just want to beat the crap out of him. I just want to hurt him some more. That's what I want to give him, from me to you.
Just bring him, you know. I take that ass too.
This was considered the biggest grudge match in history by the commentators. When they faced off, it was clear that this match carried a lot of emotions. When the fight started, Graham again tried to press Hari right away. Even though it was only a year later, this was no longer the same Badr Hari. The godfather of Dutch Muay Thai said Hari was a once-in-a-lifetime athlete, the most talented fighter of all time. His development in just a year really showed his potential. Instead of throwing spinning shit and brawling like the last fight, Hari focused on the fundamentals instead. He landed jabs and low kicks at will, over and over again. This time the crosses were timed beautifully rather than recklessly. His switch kicks also had a heavy thud while being delivered at lightning speed. Each strike now made Graham react with panic. Even a jab could send Graham stumbling back. Now the cocky young fighter looked like a veteran instead. As the fight progressed, Hari became a young, hungry predator hunting down his veteran prey. A shifting right hook into left kick almost ended the fight in round 2. Then he landed a beautiful high kick which stumbled Graham. A jab into low kick visibly affected the veteran to end the round. In the beginning of the third round, Hari said no bad feelings to Graham as they showed respect to each other. Graham tried to press forward in this round, but when Badr started firing back, he had to show respect to his power. When Hari fired another shifting right hook into left kick, Graham was rocked. As he was hunting the finish with a switch kick, Graham push kicked him to the nuts and then apologised. Just as he was apologising, Hari fired a left hook into right body straight, which sent Graham flying into the ropes. Graham got up from the shot and withstood some more attempts from Hari to finish him. Then he tried to do the Rolling Thunder once again, with Hari seeing it coming and dodging it perfectly. They share a laugh about it a moment later. Knowing that he's about to lose, Graham pressed forward and attempted the Rolling Thunder one last time. When the fight ended, Badr knew he won, and he threw his mouthguard into the crowd with many girls screaming about it. Was it excitement or disgust? Maybe a bit of both. Regardless, they shared beautiful moments showing respect at the end of the fight. I was hoping they would kiss again.
I thought he wanted to kiss me on the cheek or something, yeah. And I was like, hey, what you doing, Just try to knock him out, but I missed twice, so it wasn't a good offense.
Most people have a one-dimensional view of Hari's personality, but this interview really showed how mature Hari became over the years.
What triggered that with you and Peter?
I think at that moment in my life, I had a little bit of, I didn't really know who I am, I was a little bit maybe unsure or something, and like I have to prove myself against the world. I just wanted people to see me,
Many people will remember Badr Hari as the bad boy of kickboxing, a young cocky fighter who couldn't control his temper, someone who deserved to be humbled. While there is that, I also remember him as a warrior who never gave up despite going through humiliating defeats. Despite all his flaws, he's a human being who overcame so many obstacles that would have destroyed lesser fighters. At the end of his career, when Overeem was about to fight with Rico Verhoeven, he was the one trying to de-escalate the situation and getting everyone to respect each other.
Even 1 seconde. Hey jongens. Heb respect voor mij.
Although Hari never became the K1 World Grand Prix champion or the Glory Kickboxing champion, he did become the biggest superstar that the kickboxing world had ever seen. It's been a beautiful career for Hari, and no one can argue with his legendary status. We're excited to feature more of it in the future. What do you think of Badr Hari's career? Please let us know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.